Welcome back on Demo. Today I want to propose you the unboxing and review about the White Dwarf September 2019 released by the guy The Games Workshop. This time I'm a bit late with the White Dwarf but had problems in receiving it. Anyway, I want also to remember you that there is a double releasing about videos with this White Dwarf. So I release this video about the White Dwarf and the one about Warhammer Conquest number 5, and you can find the link in the description, so you can follow both videos eventually. And this White Dwarf in particular, it's quite interesting, even if not so much as everyone hoped, because we can find from the cover itself that it's related about the Dark Angels. Everyone thought that this was a way to make an updating of the Dark Angels and so the other chapters, so we had the indexes for the supplements and so on for the other chapters, and the White Dwarf to improve and update the normal chapter like the Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Space Wolf and so on. Instead, we see that it's not so. So it's a bit a pity about this, because everyone hoped about having an updating of those chapters, but it's also true that it's a good thing, because you don't have to go following the White Dwarf only to be able to have the update of your own armies. Anyway, it's really a great one including this, because there is anyway an index inside, so there are a lot of information, but we'll see quite soon. Anyway, it's not so good as everyone hoped. Instead, here we can find something that it was included with this White Dwarf, and it's a card that let you have the code about using Gotrek and Felix inside the Total Warhammer. Because I don't use this code, if you want, I can make a sort of role and so on to assign this if you're interested to participate to a service. So if you're interested, tell me, because I create an event or something like this in the way that you can try to win the code if you are not able to find it. Write in the comments if you're interested about, because in that case I can try to organize something. Anyway, now we can go to see now the contents inside the White Dwarf itself. Here we can find the alternative cover of the White Dwarf, and it's about the Ghost Layer, that it's a romance, a new book of the Black Library. It's quite interesting. Sincerely, I like also this one as cover, but I will not able to say that I prefer this or the other one, because anyway I like both. Here we have the theme of the White Dwarf, and here a sort of promotion of the White Dwarf itself, because there has been the Warhammer Fest and there has been some prize won by the White Dwarf itself. So take note about this thing. We can flip and we can find the contents inside here that they will find inside the White Dwarf itself. We can flip and we can find here the mix of the meal to the White Dwarf from the readers and some of the miniatures sent by the readers themselves. They are really quite interesting thing to take note about modification and so on that we can find. For example, we have this conversion that it's not bad, and this one that it's even better, because it's referring to an artwork, so it's a way to make you understand that you have such options to have, and I think that it's really quite an interesting thing. Moreover, I'm doing something like this too, because I'm preparing some models that are referring to some images. You can find an example here, for example, fast, that I create a video about quite soon. So take note about these options, because they can be really quite inspirational about the modifying that you realize. Then you can flip and you can find other options, other modifying, other things about the scheme of colors or particular ways to realize the basis and so on. You can flip, and here we can find the part about how to create your background for your own army, your own rooster. So it's a nice way to understand how to make known how to create everything. So I think that it's really quite interesting to read, to have an option about. Here we have a bit of interesting part about the Imperial Knight against and Chaos Imperial Knight with some Space Marines, so it's quite interesting. Here we have the experience about the hobby of Robin Crudes, so it can be really interesting for the ones that like to read a bit, and I think that it can be really quite interesting to understand also the other experience, so understand better also other modelists, so it can be really quite interesting. Here we have a fiction that is related about the Dark Angels, because it's one of the main themes about this number of the White Dwarf, and I think that it's quite interesting one, so take a read about this, because I liked it at least. Here we had the index starters about the Dark Angels, I told you before, and as you can see there are a lot of information, so I'd like even only to know about this background, because I think that it's really quite interesting one, because there are a lot of information. I don't have the book about the Dark Angels, but I think that having something in the White Dwarf that make you understand better every chapter, even if you don't possess the book about the codex about, I think that it's quite interesting one. And then we have this that it's the new rules, okay, but don't misunderstand these new rules. These new rules apply to the new mission, and these stratagems are available only for this mission, so they are not new stratagems for the Dark Angels, they are such only if you play this mission, so pay attention to such distinguish. We can flip, we can find a bit of army showcase about Dark Angels, so we can find quite a lot of interesting ways. I want to make you see this one. This it's a model that it's from Warhammer Conquest 5, the 5th number, the one that I put in the description, so go to see it if you are interested about this model, because it can be really quite interesting. Then we can flip, we can find other options. There are not a lot of modifying here, as you see, but it's quite interesting way to understand the scheme of colors, maybe some ideas about how to personalize the bases eventually. I don't like too much this type of bases because they are too simple for me, but it's quite interesting. Here we have about painting the Dark Angels, the different ways to have the Dark Angels, so I think that it's quite interesting. Here we have instead about the Warhammer 40k for the Galactic War Zones, so the frozen one, so how to personalize, how to take inspiration about how to have, for example, different effects on your bases or your scheme of colors adapted to such ones. I think that it's really quite interesting. Also here we can find some type of eventually little modifying on the bases and so on. I think that it's quite interesting. And also, for example, different ways to paint or to create some bases again, how to use the snow to personalize your models in the way that it seems that comes from a snowy world. Here we have also how to modify, how to create shiny elements based on snow, so quite simple ones, but they can be really quite awesome, so they are really quite interesting one. For example, this type and way to paint the bases that can be really quite interesting, so this one I think that it's quite nice one. Here we have the kill team with new rules about the kill team, so nice also this presence of the new rules. They are official ones, so they are available. Here we can find something that start promoting Warcry, because it's something that the GW is really trying to promote a lot. I don't like too much Warcry, it's not bad, I like, but I'm not a great fan. I prefer to play Age of Sigmar usually, but it's nice. Here we can find how to play better. It explained by Javi Johnson the different ways that you can have to play. For example, we have the presence of the General Handbook 2019, but then we have the explanation about the match play, about different open worlds, so the open play, here the narrative play, so how to personalize your ways to play. I think that can be quite interesting. It's obvious for the ones that play quite a lot about Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40k, because it's the same, it simply changed the environment. but I think that anyway it's a way to have a memory of the presence of these ones. So sometimes it's nice to have a competitive match, and sometimes to have a simply narrative match. Try to recreate a historical event of the world that you are going to play, so Warhammer Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40k or something else, and having, so it's really quite nice in this way. Here we have the Tale of Four Warlords, that it's really quite interesting design, because we have a lot of addings. We can find the scheme of colors, we can find a lot of inspirations, even simply one about simply things. So for example, the scheme of colors that are quite simple but work perfectly. Here we have the adding of simply elements to your army and make it really good if you think that you can create an environment for your army. So it's quite nice. Here we have about an Argol, and also here can be really quite interesting. Here we have about the deynontech Deepkin. I want to remember that I'm still processing about to personalize this one, and if you see, it's quite personalized, so it's really quite amazing. Also this, so we can find a lot of different things here that can have quite a lot of interesting ways to suggest you how to personalize your army. So take note, because I think that these can be really amazing ways to have a way to have your own army personalized. So I think that it's really quite amazing one. Also here there are a lot of personalizations about, so take note, because there are a lot of different things that you can use to create and have your army. Simply you can have this as a suggestion. Don't think that I have to follow or I'm not able. Think that it's nice, I can do this another way, but it's nice the idea. Then we have about Warcry, so we have about the explanation of the Warcry of the different tribes that are playing for now for Warcry, but there are more incoming and are still incoming. Here we have a battle report about Warcry, so if you want to understand how to play Warcry before to buy the rulebook about the Warcry, I think that it can be really quite nice to understand how it works, and if you find it comfortable for you, if you find that it can be interesting. Sincerely, I suggest you to buy, or even only cause the miniatures and the shiny elements, because they are really amazing. But also, if you only go to think about using the Warcry to play, I think that it's quite good. Anyway, there are adding a lot of factions to be able to play Warcry, so you have no problem about having an army that you don't know how to play a song, because they are going to have all the ones rules about playing. So I think that it can be really quite interesting one. It's up to you then decide if it's something that it's work for you about playing, about use of this game. So but with this at least you know how it's played. So I think that it's really quite interesting as a way to make you understand this game itself. Then we have new rules about the Reign of Blood, so it's a even closer way to have these events about the Warcry. And there are a lot of ways. We had the campaign, so in this way. So we had the way to have new rules about playing. We can expand it. So I think that it can be really quite interesting one. We can have, for example, the different progression of the campaign and so on. So it's quite interesting one about this, I think. Then we have this about Underworld with the new releasing, because has been released Beastgrave, that add quite a lot to the options that you can have. And here they explain a lot of things about the playing the cards. Here we have the part about the Golden Demon. And here we have a lot of different things to take note. We can really take a lot of information about these models. For example, this one, it's quite simple because we had the simple model. Simple, it's difficult to paint, so but we have this and we can analyze the base itself. So we can find that it's not so difficult to realize such base. You need time, but you can understand that, for example, this base it's something that it's out of the original base, and then it creates a circle to bring it, so it expands the volume that you can have for the model and then play it. So it's quite nice. Here we have, for example, another model that it's simply two models, but in different contextualization, so creating an environment about playing it. I think that it's really quite interesting one. The painting, it's amazing, but I like moreover the display, how it's been realized, the contour that make it really value a lot, in my opinion. For example, also this mod, it's really quite simple to realize, but it's not so easy to make. For example, this one, it's quite simple to create because there are simple models in the right positioning. What is difficult is this part, that you only need to create it using different elements, the candles, the right standard, and the different difficult part is this standard, how to realize. But everything else, it's not difficult to have such way. You have to understand a bit how to do. Obviously, it's painted magnificently, but I want to make you understand how you can really combine simple things. For example, also this, it's really quite simple to realize. This one, not so much, it's not so easy to create. But for example, these models are simply models posed in that positioning, so they are so static ones, but the environment make them gaining more value. So I think that it's really quite amazing. Also, this one can be really quite amazing. For example, we have this, that it's an Alpha Titan with the plinth that it's on, that it's quite simple, and this model put on this one. So the painting, it's what makes great, but the idea is quite simple. You can realize such thing without too many issues if you work a bit. Also here, for example, we don't have quite a lot of difficult things to realize. So also this, it's not so much difficult, but what is difficult is to realize the contour, and to understand it can be really quite a lot of suggestion. So I think that it's really quite nice. Also here we have, for example, that if you go to see, it's not so difficult because we go to see the models. They are simply models that are really bit modified, and they are not quite a lot modified. Even this, it's the normal position, it's not something quite special. What changed is the contour, the details, the things that has been done, and see the base itself. To expand everything, they used, yes, things to make the volume improvement, but also they used the height to create. So I think that it's something that even if it's not easy to realize, it's something that can be realized. Obviously it's not so simple, but you can create something similar if you work a bit. So take inspiration about these things, because it can be really quite amazing one. Also, these ones are simply model posed in a specific way. Simply the contest and so on create a different option. Also, these ones, if you go to see, they're nothing special. What is special is how they are related to each other. So take this thing as a possible option. Then we have about the Blackstone Fortress, so new rules about it. The Games Workshop, it's improving quite a lot, both this and Warcry. So there are a lot of new addings each month with this White Dwarf. So even only for this, I suggest you to buy if you're interested about. Then we have the Black Library that make you have the Gotrek part. We have seen that the alternative cover about the White Dwarf of this month is Gotrek with the new post layer, because it's with the releasing of the new miniatures of the Gotrek. So the way to have this, we can find that it's the alternative also, the Ghost Layer volume that it's available. Here we have informations about the new chart and so on involved inside this book, so it's a way to know better these things. And then we can continue with other images that are related in a way to the Ghost Layers, because we have, and can be really quite interesting even only to understand better how you can have different options. You can use these to create your miniatures you're modifying, changing maybe some subject and so on, but create your own things. So I think that it's quite interesting. We have these details that are amazing ones. Here we have better what's its artwork, that it's the alternative cover about the White Dwarf. And here we have instead about Middle Earth, so new rules adding with new things available. So quite a lot of things for the ones that are going to play Middle Earth. I think that it's really quite amazing one. So it's quite great. And here we have the inside the studio, so with things that we'll see in the future, White Dwarf, new miniatures and so on, games that are going to be played, other options that will be part. So it's really quite interesting. As I said, this is the alternative cover, and this it's the final that it's about the aeronautica, because the Games Workshop released also the manual about the Imperialist aeronautica, so how to play with these flights and airplanes, the games. So I think that it's really quite interesting. It's a way to make have a sort of market in the one that was about Star Wars, that taken on what it was about the Aeronautic Imperialis, that it was once about the space for Games Workshop. So there are a lot of things, interesting ones. So what to say about this White Dwarf? I think that it's amazing. I suggest you to buy, because if you are going to play Warcry, there are a lot of things. If you are going to play Kill Team, there are a lot of things. If you are going to play the Blackstone Protest, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of new informations. There are really quite interesting things. And I think also that about modelism, to having suggestions how to realize models and so on, it's a really amazing one. So I suggest for these things to take note and think about gaining such ones. So this White Dwarf, I think that it's worth. Anyway, from Dynamod it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.